Oh, there you go. Okay, good. Yeah, come on down. You're the next contestant on the first.
How's that sound?
Anyway, actually, a little story here. Okay, I've been playing their game, Creed: Rise to Glory. I hope I got that title right. And I gotta tell you, I am so unbelievably out of shape. It's like a boxing game in VR. I won't spell everything for you, but it's a great joy to play, but it's embarrassing to be watched because I am in horrible shape, and my wife is nodding in the corner there. She agrees completely. Anyway, please, let's give Mike a big round of applause.
Hope I don't embarrass myself. All right, here we go. So my name is Mike Demaghi. I'm Vice President of Marketing over at Survios, and here's a little bit about ours. Forgive me on the lots of text, but I wanted to at least wake you up in the afternoon. At Survios, we started in 2013. We've been blessed by being supported by some great VC and partners, including MGM. We've had the #1 title, Raw Data, on Steam. Was actually the biggest title for VR at the time. It was actually the top seller for all global games. We've had the #1 sales games for 3 of the 4 titles that we've produced. We've won Best VR Game from AMD, the VR Awards for Raw Data. 2 of our co-founders are recognized as Forbes 30 under 30. And finally, we've also, to understand, and again, to kind of what this afternoon's been all about, which is the location-based entertainment, we've also opened up our own arcade in lovely Southern California to understand what it's like to be an operator. So these are our titles. The first 4 that we talked about, Raw Data, Creed, Rise to Glory, Sprint Vector, Electronauts, and then we also published Smashbox and Jumanji. And that's going to be part of our biggest in terms of what we want to bring to the table. And what we want to bring to the table is, simply put, we want to bring VR to the masses. You've heard a lot about mixed reality, you've heard about VR, you've heard about AR, but really what we want to hang our hat in is that we want to be synonymous with VR. So that is kind of what our leadership team, our company is really standing behind. And how we do that is we want to control the sphere. So it ranges from all the way from content creation. So we've got an internal studio, so we produce around 4 titles a year. We also have a third-party publishing arm, which I head up, in terms of bringing the best content over to the VR market. And then we have a distribution network where we are in 40 plus countries, 6 continents. The only continent we have missed is Antarctica, because as of right now, according to the Spring report, I don't believe there is an arcade yet in Antarctica. So when there's one there, we're going to be there as well.
Bit cold.
Pardon?
Bit cold.
Oh, a bit cold, yes, but much cold, a little less colder than, well, I'm from California. I don't understand this whole weather thing, to be honest with you. But again, we also want to get the content out there to the people. So that's why we want to control that part of distribution. And then finally, it's all about the customer experience, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure you have the best experience possible with this new technology and with the best content. And that's what we want to really focus on. So these are our philosophies. One is active VR. So one of the games that we brought up is Sprint Vector. So Sprint Vector was our foray into esports. Again, we worked with the VR League. At OC5, we gave away a $25,000 prize to the top people to raise an 8-player race. And why that's really great is that at the end of the day, one of the things that we talk about in our company is what happens if you had 1,000 lives, and that's the magic of VR. What happens if I could climb a 100-foot wall? What happens if you could run 100 miles per hour? And that's one of our games, right? And that's Sprint Vector. In Creed, what would it be like to walk down the aisle in a world championship bout and to be able to go after and bring that glory? And what does it feel like to be a heavyweight champion? That's what we believe in over there at Survios. So again, we see that. We are very, very, very fan focused, right? So in terms of making sure that experience is key, I spend time with our employees over at our O&O arcade. I spend time with our demo team to make sure that each individual has the best experience. What I want them to leave is that their minds are blown by the content and by their experience in VR. Because we believe that the only way we're going to get that adoption rate to where we need it to be, we're going to start with one person at a time. So, it's not scalable, but we're going to try. And then the other thing is also, we are very lucky to be working in Hollywood. So we have access to a lot of stars, to a lot of partnerships, and one of our partnerships is with MGM, who's one of our investors. And we have my friend, Michael B. Jordan. I affectionately like to call him that. I don't think he calls me that. But nevertheless, and here's some words. Step into the ring and play free. Rise to glory with PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, Oculus, or your nearest VR arcade. So the reason why that's important is because if we really believe in this technology, again, it's all about think about the technology as it means the content, right? And ultimately, how do we get into the mainstream part of the pop culture? And it's going to be through people with wide reach, such as Michael B. Jordan, right? And the funny story behind this video is that I had to fly out 24 hours to Philadelphia. And let me tell you, how do you tell your wife and your son, hey, I'm about to leave for 24 hours. Went to 24 hours and, again, had cheesesteaks at 1 in the morning at Gino's and Pat's because we had to compare the two. And then we met with him for 22 minutes. He had his assistant come in going, all right, these guys are harmless. So he came back in, but he was so blown away. He left. Good thing we weren't talking about him. He came back 2 minutes later and said, I have a bunch of ideas. I want to do this, and we can make that happen. And we actually implemented some of his concepts into the game. So, and then this is a sneak peek on. This is Michael B. Jordan playing the game in our VO studio.
So his hands turn white and then you get full power.
Really? How does he do? I want to do that.
Well, now's your chance.
All right. So ultimately, I really want to kind of touch on is kind of understand what VR's challenges are. The first one is kind of the trough of disillusionment, right? Right now, back in 2016, VR was the hot thing. It was the fantastic thing. Investment was going everywhere. There's all this excitement. But right now, it seems like the momentum has slowed down, right? It's all about AR. It's all about something, whatever technology with an R at the end and everything. But the thing is that we are right there. Again, if you ever look at anything that tells you about success, the road to success is never a straight line. And we understand that. So what we plan to do, again, our philosophy is bringing VR to the masses. We've got to get through this. And the only way we're going to get through this is all together. How do we uplift the industry? Again, that is why we're going to touch on a little bit more what Kevin has kind of mentioned about LBEs. The other thing also is you got to understand the consumer, right? We talked about the retail market and the LBE market. They are vastly different from very vastly different. And the VR person is relatively your first time user. They've heard about this thing called VR. Let me check it out. And it's usually around 50-50 male-female. The hardcore gamer is your typical gamer. It's usually your white-collar guy who's into technology, who's into the hardcore experiences. They have experience probably with Call of Duty, with Fortnite and everything like that. But again, you've got to understand the nuances between the customers. That reflects on how you deliver content and how do you deliver experiences. Technology. So these are the different factors. And again, I think 2019 is going to be, as we call it internally, 2018 is our Valley Forge. I forgot out in Canada. So Valley Forge, right, is where all the Americans huddled in, right, waiting for the winter to get so they can go after the British, right? Well, this, we believe, is our Valley Forge right now. Is that what we need to hunker down and lay down the groundwork for success in 2019 and 2020. Part of that is, how do we work with Oculus, Vive, and all the other computer partners that we have in terms of how do we get the technology to help to bring up and lift up this industry. So one of the things that I kind of mentioned, you guys saw it in terms of the esports that we kind of all talked about it, right? And if you ever watch esports and everything, do you ever watch what it looks like, right? You see this, right? And it's a lot of facial features. There's a lot of drama brought to your face. VR, unfortunately, does not allow that, right? Because you have this big, huge mass. How do you create drama? And that's really that you see when you see you with Street Fighter on cable television, on ESPN and everything like that. There's drama. How are we going to create that? So that's one of the things in terms of the form factor the technology partners have to help us with. All right, so it was also, when I made this, it was near Halloween, so I tried to figure out some type of funny, scary type of picture. And what that is really, it's the lack of killer content. We have not, in VR, we can talk about it, and Beat Saber has probably come the closest in 2018, that game, a music rhythm game. But we do not have our Halo, which Halo was to Xbox. It moved the platform. We are still looking for that. And once that happens, then you'll see bigger adoption. And that's what, again, PSVR, I believe they touted in August, 3 million PSVR units. Their PS4 units, they're at 60 million. So if you look at the attach rate, it's really low in the grand scheme of things. And then revenue streams, right? Again, when you look at, as we say in our internally, it's up to the right in the future. But if you look at it, the biggest thing that I really want to point out is it's not going to be just one winner. It's going to be multiple winners across different segments. And that's the biggest thing, is that we're going to have to figure out how to lift up everybody. And it's going to be places like this that's going to bring people together. And how do we create that momentum to succeed? And I think I have one last video from my friend Michael B. Jordan. So it's a video from me and him.
Hey, Immersed. It's Michael B, aka Killmonger. Appreciate the love. Thanks for watching the movie. It was fucking awesome.
So I jimmied up a video that he sent for my son. But again, thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions, I'll be around. Thanks, guys.
You know, I really think I could take that Michael B. Jordan.
He
I'm almost
is.
sure of it.
I would say he is really strong in real life.
Only
Let me tell
the game,
you.
though.
I gave him a hug and I
Don't
felt
get the
so.
wrong idea.
I felt so safe in his arms. Let me tell you.